Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. Justin Abrams and J.R. Jones with you. We've got a couple of very exciting draws today. First, we will have the Champions League qualifying round draws. And JR can talk a little bit more about the Champions League in a moment. And then we will have the U.S. Cup draws. So we will have 14 teams in the U.S. Cup, two groups, 7 pots, and we'll divide the 14 teams into two different groups, and then we'll be able to get to playing. So, Jr., glad to have you aboard, and we can knock these both out at once. Thanks for coming on the show, and tell us a little bit about the Champions League and what we're deciding today.
Yeah, so Champions League is one of my personal favorite tournaments that we have in the Twilight Struggle universe. We have this invite-only tournament. It's styled after the European Champions League from soccer, which probably most people are at least roughly familiar with. Maybe
Yeah,
not
they
the
probably
Americans.
call it football, though.
Yeah, that's true. But they have 2 Americans doing the stream, so they have to listen to me call it soccer.
Yes.
So basically, we have a lot of domestic leagues that everyone runs and works very hard for. And the top certain number of players from each league, basically, which we base off of previous performance in Champions League, as well as quality of the players in the league, get spots. So you can see the Polish league has historically done very well. They're the top here. They were the #1 league. They got 3 spots. And all of their players are going straight through to group stage. They don't have to play in the qualifiers that we're drawing today. But yeah, I mean, you can see we have a ton of leagues here. We're always very excited that there are so many domestic leagues that are involved. And then, of course, our champions from our major tournaments, Champions League last year, OTSL, RTSL, ITSL, and the Grand Slam champion always make it as well. So yeah, what you end up with is really just consistently some of the top players in the world. And sometimes, they get surprised. Sometimes you get someone in there who you wouldn't expect to do well. You get some of the biggest names, and they make a deep run into the playoffs, and it's a lot of fun. The only other interesting thing about Champions League, and we can show you here in the qualifying stage, is each matchup is a best of 2. So for those of you who can do math, that means a lot of series can end 1-1. Which means that tiebreakers are much more important than usual, and our first tiebreaker is turn of victory. So sometimes it can be very interesting. You might have won the first game, and you're not doing great in the second game, so you start making plays just to drag the game out to final scoring, whereas normally you might, go for DEFCON. Now you're like, okay, I don't care that I lose. I'm just going to do whatever I can to maximize my VP and hope that we get to turn 6 AR4 so that I'm the actual winner of this series.
Yes, certainly is an interesting format, and I look forward to playing it for the first time. As everyone knows, I run the Atlantic League, done that for 4 years, and 4 years in a row failed to make the Champions League. Snuck in through the back door this year, taking the 32nd spot out of 32. So I'm excited to be playing for the first time. JR, how many times you've been in Champions League?
I have actually been in Champions League 3 times. I'm in it this year. This will be my 3rd year. So yeah, looking forward to that. The first year I was in it, I won some games. The second year I was in it, I flamed out immediately and did terribly. So I'm hoping it's more like the first time I was in it.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Now, do you want to answer your trivia question now, or do you want to wait till later in the show?
I'll ask it again now. So there have been 4 years of Champions League, and there are only 2 players who have participated in all 4 years. Who do you guys think it might be? So I'll type that in chat too, and maybe someone will answer by the end of the stream. And at the end of the Champions League draw, I'll go over there and reveal it. But it's not me, and it's not Justin. So that's 2 off your list.
Everyone already knew it wasn't me, JR, but thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for saying that. But yeah, okay. So explain. So we're talking about the qualifying rounds today.
Yeah. So if I scroll down here a little, there's the people that have round 1 next to their name. And those are the people who are going to be in the qualifying rounds today. And that's generally just decided by league strength. So as you can see, as we scroll down, we're kind of going down in league strength with the exception of these bottom ones. So if they want to get into the main stage next year or have more players in the Champions League. Hopefully they do well, because that will be a big impact on if that league has more participants in Champions League next year.
Very
So,
exciting.
Justin, do you want to go through? Do you want to just go through some of these names, talk about some of these players? I think most people will be familiar with most of these players.
Sure. I don't know anything about that top guy. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about him. But yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so first we'll start with the Polish league, and maybe we'll just go by leagues. We'll go by 3, so we don't have to talk about 38 people in a row. So for Polish league, we have Zimowit, we have Bartosz, and Katsiriana. Probably butchered that one. Justin, do you know how to say that name?
Ed Prem referred to her as Kate when he sent me a game involving her, so I gratefully referred to her as Kate in my commentary
Excellent.
of that broadcast. So she might not like that, and if so, I apologize, Kate.
But you've got 2 players who I think everyone knows. They're actually both lower than Kate in ITSR right now, but we have 2 former number 1 in the worlds right there with Z and Bartosz. 2 great players. I think they need very little introduction. Most people are familiar with them and their games. And I mean, they're just crushing it in most tournaments. Z just missed out on an RTSL chance at an RTSL championship this year, but he'll be back there next year fighting for that.
Yeah. And then KTSL, obviously those 3 are big names in the Korean community. A little surprised not to see Alex Yusip Lim or BH Ju on the KTSL group. But yeah, a lot of great players over there.
Yeah. I thought the exact same thing as you. I was very surprised. No disrespect to Ted or SJ or David here, but yeah, we had a nice mix-up in the KTSL. BH Ju, actually, our Champions League defending champion, did not make it through KTSL. We'll get to him a little later, but he does make it as the defending champion. But yeah, very exciting. I mean, the Korean Twilight Struggle community is a very competitive community, so you know that there's some pretty good players if they're able to get top 3 in their pretty significant sized league. They've got a lot of guys who participate there.
Yeah. And then they like leaving Poland empty at the start of the game, which is a weird thing, but sometimes it works out.
Yeah. Next up, we've got the Western League, my personal league. Obviously, Chris beat me in the finals. Not particularly close. He handled me very easily. Did a good job of that. He's a very good player, very nice guy, and well-deserved entry into the Champion League. Second, we got me. He's okay. I think he lost. I think that guy lost like 12 games in a row or something, so he kind of sucks. I don't know how he got in here. And then last, Jan Wimmer got 3rd. He just finished up that series the other day to sneak into that 3rd place spot. And very excited to have him in. Jan's a great player, a good guy. He's my teammate on Team California. And excited to have him into the Champions League. Justin, you ever played him?
Yes, I have. Played him in the RTSL Stalin division. Was able to narrowly beat him. And then, of course, met up in the U.S. Cup many times with varying degrees of success. Stupid war games and Central America in 2023, but that's neither here nor there. But certainly 3 good players coming out of Western U.S. League. And then the Greek League as well.
Yeah, Greek League, also another league that has a bunch of good players in it. I do not know how to say Greek names, so I'm just going to say them incorrectly. But Makis is a very good player.
It's Makis.
He's a
Makis. Nope. You emphasize the ma. I learned this. It's Makis, not Makis. It's Makis.
Makis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll practice that. If you guys want to buy me Duolingo, I'll get on these. But he's a very good player. He's active in the community. He plays in a lot of leagues. I've played him a few times. I think I've lost him a few times.
Also
great player, well earned
as well.
That's right. He well earned that 1 seed and that group stage pot 1 for the group stage draw that we'll have a little later. Demetris, maybe that's how you say his name. Another good player. He's been around a lot. He plays in a lot of our leagues. glad to see him in the Champions League. I think it might be his first time. Maybe he's been in once before, but excited to see him more. And Justin, are you familiar with this third person at all? Rania? I'm not. I personally have not played against them, so I don't know a whole lot about them.
Cannot say as I am, JR. Unfortunately, can't bail you out on this one.
No worries. Well, glad to have them in the league in any case, and hope that they do well in the draw that we're going to have here. Moving on, we have our biggest league, domestic league, the LFTS, and three obviously great players because eagle-eyed viewers might notice that Harib Flores did not even make the top three here. He was cast out of the tournament early, I guess. But Pablo here is currently top 10 in ITSR, I believe, with a very strong 66-39. Excited to see him in the tournament. Daniel Pastor is a great player. He's been around for a long time, and he obviously has a well-earned second place here. And Javier sneaking in with that third spot is probably not who anyone's going to want to see in this draw. I think he's, if not our highest, one of our highest rated players who are participating in round one. So I don't think anyone's going to be happy to draw that name in this draw.
Spanish League Twilight Struggle. It's not just Harib.
You want to take the UK League here?
Are there any good players? I don't know if I've ever heard of this first guy, Tasos. I don't know. Don't know if I've ever heard of that guy. But yeah, he's obviously a great player, and he was in the top 10 ITSR very very recently. Name everyone in the community knows does so much work for all of us to keep things running. Whether it's loading games into a database or reporting, helping to run ITSL. He's the president of Junta, obviously. So community wouldn't be what it is today without Tasos. And then we've got Jamie and Tom. Don't know too much about either of them, but obviously a UK League, a competitive league, evidently more competitive than Atlantic League. So thanks for that, JR. So to place in the top three in that league, certainly very very impressive, and I look forward to see what they can do in the Champions League.
Yeah, and I will just say, Tassos is actually still number 10 in ITSR, or at least he was yesterday when I was making this list. So that's 69. So he still is top 10. He's number 10 right now. So still doing okay. And then next we have this super easy league. I don't know. It seems to me like anyone could win this league. Like you could throw in a brand new player and they should be able to do just fine in this league. So I don't know who would struggle in it, but Atlantic Coast League, I guess.
Yeah. I changed the name of it to Atlantic League, but clearly it still hasn't been updated in the spreadsheet. I called it Atlantic Coast in the first one, but some folks from Pennsylvania complained, and rightfully so. We accept players from anywhere east of the Mississippi, and also Ed Prem. So we take any American player who is excited to play. And it was a great season of Atlantic League this year. We had 32 players, which I was really excited about. 12 of them advanced onto the playoffs, and Ryan won it all this year after he was the runner-up last year, lost to Gabriel in the finals. This year, left no doubt, won it all. Harry, a mainstay in the Atlantic League playoffs, was the runner-up, and then James, he defeated me in the third place match rather convincingly, and took the third spot, denying me, or so I thought, a Champions League bid. But Playdeck had other ideas and helped me out in my rematch against James in the OTSL playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, these are three great players. Very glad that all of them are going to be in the Champions League here. I did switch your name just now, so you're welcome. Now you're just the Atlantic League.
Yes.
But James, another one of those guys who no one wants to see in round one, I would say pretty confidently.
Yeah, he's a great
next
player.
up, now we're getting into some of these leagues. Some of these leagues only have one player, and that's generally going to be due to league size. We did introduce some size limits just so a league of like 5 people doesn't get 2 spots if they happen to be some of the best players in the world. So it is not necessarily that these leagues were worse. It's just that, they only had a smaller number of players. So hopefully more people join next year and they can get more spots. But for the Nordic region, we have Heinrich back into the Champions League. Very good player. Stormed onto the scene. Was it 2 years ago in ITSL?
Yes, 2
Justin,
years
do you
ago
remember? You
was conference champion. And
Yeah.
he got swept in the grand finals by Michael Patnick, but he won it all. He won the conference, and I believe he won the World Cup as well, and earned had an article written about him in a Swedish newspaper, if I'm recalling correctly. So he's certainly a great player.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we have the French League, and the first place, I believe this was his first, he told me, Franck, who's the French League organizer, had gotten second place in the French League several years in a row, and he finally got that monkey off his back, per se, and got the win here. So well-deserved to him, and congratulations. The second place player was Remy here. He declined to join the Champions League, which was good news for Anthony, I think, maybe.
Not Antoine?
Is it? I don't know, dude. I'm not good at French. I'm American. I'm stupid. Is it Antoine?
I assume I've been saying Antoine on my streams. So if it's not Antoine, then I'm in some trouble.
Peter's in the chat. He lives in Turkey, which is kind of close to Europe, so he should tell me. But the good news for him was he got the next spot as the third place finisher, which is a well-deserved spot. Nothing wrong with getting third place. So he will have to send him some thank yous if he does well in the Champions League here. Next up, Midwest League. Like I was just saying, Peter, you're here. And Peter won the Midwest League. He beat Derek Miller in the finals, two stalwarts of the community that I think most people, pretty much everyone watching this stream will know. Two good players, and look forward to having both of them in. This is Peter's first time. I think Derek's been in the Champions League at least once before, though.
Yes, Derek won Illinois League, I believe, in the first year. I don't know anything, about Derek Miller.
I was going to say, do you know anything about the Midwest?
No, I've never played him or dealt with him in any way. He's complete stranger to me. So, but definitely never played against him in an important game like on ARZ or anything.
Yeah, that sounds correct to me. And I don't think you have any problems against him in team games, Illinois versus Washington D.C. either.
No, certainly didn't lose 6 in a row to them to begin our team game career. That definitely did not happen at all.
Yeah. So next up, we have Canadian League here, and they were a little bit of a smaller league, so only one spot, but very well-deserved spot for Max Goldman, one of the best players in our community. Glad to have him in the Champions League, and I think most people watching this again will know who Max is. He's a streamer. You should watch his stream when he does stream. Justin, any thoughts on Max?
Usually streamers, I always say they're a popular streamer or a beloved streamer. Max is a streamer. But no, just all kidding aside. I like Max. He's always entertaining to watch. He's a good player. Guy we're happy to have in the community, and look forward to seeing him stream some of these games.
Yeah, I do think Max likes to be community villain a little bit at times, so I don't think he would take too much offense to that. Yeah, absolutely.
He's not going to mind some good-natured abuse. He gives it back as well as he takes it.
Absolutely. Next up, we had the Italian League. We've got Andrea and Daniel here, two very good players. There are several Andreas, so I honestly couldn't tell you if I played this one. But obviously a very good player. 65-24 is nothing to sneeze at ITSR. And Daniel Squindo, he plays a lot of leagues. I've played him a bunch of times. He's a good player. Nice guy, always up for a good match.
Yeah, don't know a ton about either of these players. I did play Daniel in OTSL playoffs, had a couple of very entertaining games against him. And it looks like Harry did well in Chinese League as well as Atlantic League. So that's good to see.
Yeah. Harry actually was down, I think it was 2-0 in the best of 5 Chinese League finals and came back with a 3-game win in a row to upset Luke Howe here to take that first spot in the Chinese League. Luckily for Luke Howe, he was already registered through Atlantic League, and he got a better spot here, group stage versus round 1, so he elected to take that one. And Luke Howe got the other spot in Chinese League. A new two Twilight Struggle Champions League player. Looking forward to seeing him in the league. Have not played him before, so hopefully he has some good matches in round one, and maybe we'll get to see him in the group stage.
Yep. And then Dutch League, Alexei beat me in ITSL last year and also knocked me out of Grand Slam Washington, D.C. So thank you, Alexei.
Alexei is a great player. That's another one where you really don't want to play him in the first round.
I don't want to play him in any round.
Yeah, very very consistently a top 10 player in the world.
Love to see him knocked out before he stage.
Yeah. The next league is the Eastern European League, which was a pretty big league this year, but it was brand new, which did hurt their rating just a bit. I would expect to see them have some more representation next year. They had like 20-ish players, I think, something around there. But this year they only have one, and this year it's going to be Yuri Golomako. A good player. He's stepped away from the scene a little bit. He has not been as active in the major leagues, ITSL, OTSL, etc. But he did still participate in the European League and had agreed to do this, which we're always happy to hear. It's nice when people take their spots. Justin, have you ever played him? I've never actually played him in a game.
I actually played him last year in All Stars, and he beat me by 5 in final. It was a good game. I had a big comeback in the late war that fell just short. But yeah, good game. He was a good player.
Nice. And then last for our domestic leagues here, Bedart got the spot from the Basque League. He's a very good player, very active in the community, very nice guy. You should go to the convention in the summer if you're watching the stream, and you can probably meet him. I assume he'll be there because it is in Basque Country.
I'm sorry, Bedart what, JR?
He sent me a voice note of this before, and I still couldn't do it. Like, I had him send me via Discord or WhatsApp or something a voice note of him saying his last name, and I still messed it up, so I'm not doing it. To honor him, I don't want to dishonor him by even attempting it.
Okay. All right. I tried, but the chat is saying they won't really want you to say the name, particularly Anton. Anton said he was staying to wait for you to pronounce Bedart's last name, and then he was leaving.
Yeah, I think it probably showed up on the stream, but the little WhatsApp notification popped up here saying say his last name, which is funny. And we'll just run through these last ones real quick. These are players everyone knows, and everyone knows what they're about.
I know that bottom guy, but the other four obviously I've heard of.
Yeah. Tomas, great player. He's our ITSL champion. That's what got him in. Needs no introduction. Everyone knows him. BH, we talked about a little bit. He won last Champions League. It was an all-Korean final. It was Korea versus Korea in the finals, and BH was the one who won. So congratulations to him, and glad to have him back. OTSL, Justin chose the hardest path to make it to Champions League. He was like, screw my domestic league that I run. I'm going to go through OTSL Gold and beat some of the best players in the world to go through that. RTSL made it easy on us. Harib won like the last two RTSLs, so he gets in through that, no problem. And then our Grand Slam champion from last year was Michael Stryker, Team Texas great, and one of the best American players. So very excited to have him in the league as well. All of those guys are going to group stage, so we won't be drawing them today. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our qualifying draw, shall we, Justin?
Let's fucking go.
So here's our draw. These players are strictly rated by ITSR. The seeded players will play against the not seeded players. The only rules are you're not going to play someone from your same federation. So James and Derek won't play, and Andrea and Daniel will not play. But that's it. So I've got my two wheels here with the two names, and we're just going to get started here. And I have them moved. So first draw is Alexei. Unfortunate for someone. Let's move this tab over one. My apologies for not doing that sooner. Dang. I was hoping the flag was already ready, but that's okay. So Alexei will be playing Daniel, which I love to see because it's one of the people who can't, who has a limit on who they're playing. All right, remind me to grab the flag when I do this.
Champions League.
So
it's always so complicated.
So luckily, It's not that complicated. So they're just as a reminder, they're just gonna play a best of two here. One is either side. It doesn't matter which one second. These games are due by February 10th, so they've got about 3 weeks to play them. And obviously, if you go 2-0, you advance, and if it goes 1-1, the tiebreakers are just how fast you won. So I think it says it right here. Less turns, less action rounds, more VP difference if it's the same turn and same action round. And if it's the same turn, same action round, and same VP, the player who played faster advances. I don't think we've ever gotten to that one. I think it's always been action round was the tiebreaker at worst. But yeah, so that's how that's going to work. We'll keep going here. All right. Apparently, we're just going down the list here for the seeded players. That's the top two picked for the first two. Justin, do you know how to say this name? Because I'm pretty sure I butchered it earlier.
Nope. I do not. I'm
right.
sorry, JR.
It's okay. Rania it is. That's how you say it. No one can tell me not. All right. Next up, we've got Yuri. And he will be playing Lukao. Okay. James.
Let's go, James.
Who you hoping James gets here, Justin?
Oh my God. Well, I would love to see him get Derek Miller, but obviously we can't. So I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Oh, spin it again.
It even wanted it to let you have that.
All right, Antoine.
All right. And we'll do both of these. Bedard and Javier.
Sounds like Rania.
Last ones here.
Rania is the pronunciation. We've got a helper in chat. A first-time chatter. Somebody piped up for the very first time on any stream of mine ever.
Thank you. This is how you force Americans to learn your language, is by making me say your name and getting embarrassed on a live stream. Yeah. So apparently I have one too many things here, which is fine. I will just get rid of that. But yeah, so there's our draw for the first round. Like I said, these games are due on the 10th, and hopefully we get some good matches. Hopefully we get some good videos and streams. I know a couple of these guys post videos and a couple of these guys stream, so hoping to see some of these.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, Justin, you ready to switch gears and go over to the U.S. Cup next?
Yeah, let's do it. So I guess you want to stop sharing your screen and I'll start sharing.
Yeah.
Mine. I didn't think about this.
Let me.
Here
you go. My stream's off.
Okay, there we go. Now I got to share my screen with you.
Oh, wait.
What?
I forgot the most important thing.
What?
Yeah, I didn't. Trivia question of
yes.
who has made it. Yeah, so the two players that have not missed a single Champions League. One was Zimowit, which a few people have been guessing. I think I've seen that. Jeremy guessed that, at least, among some others. And the other one was actually Franck Ronspierre, the French League commissioner. He's made it every single year out of the French League, and I think every year before this one out of the 2 spot. But those are the only 2 players that have made all 4 Champions League. So congratulations to them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for answering that, JR. Yes, Peter, the Champions League division, the group placement is happening later. Is that right, JR? Because it depends on who wins the qualifying rounds. There's obviously some restrictions there.
Yeah, exactly. Since we don't know who will be winning from the qualifying rounds, we have to wait on the group draw for those 6 players to slot in because, we don't want to have like 3 Greek players in the same group or something.
Sure. Okay, so we move on now to the U.S. Cup, completely separate tournament. This is a team tournament that's been conducted each year since 2021. And this year we have the biggest tournament ever, 14 teams. And we'll have two groups. We'll have Group A, Group B. Each of them will have 7 teams, so each team will play 6 games. Last year we did a crossover game. We had 12 teams. We did a crossover game, so everybody would get to play 6 games. This time we don't need to do that, and we can just have a round robin, more traditional round robin for each group. And then top 3 in each group will make the playoffs. The second place from Group A will play the third from Group B, and vice versa. Winner of those will go on to play group champions in the semifinals, and then, of course, winners will play in the finals. Playoffs are best of 3 or even best of 5 for the finals are encouraged but not required. Team game scheduling can be tricky. So, JR, any comments on that?
No, I'm looking forward to it. U.S. Cup, one of my favorite tournaments. I am now Team California's, I don't know, whatever you call it, captain, leader, guy who forces them all to play games. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Very, very fun tournament. These Federations tournaments are a lot of fun where you get to play team games.
Yeah. So the pot breakdown, we just it was a little bit of a hodgepodge here. So Washington and Texas were our finalists last year. Team Washington, the Evergreen State, back to defend their title. Texas runner-up. DC, Maryland met in the consolation match. District of Columbia took 3rd place, Maryland 4th last year. So our top 4 finishers are in the top 2 pots. California and New Jersey have both had some success in past tournaments. And California, a regular in the playoffs. Team New Jersey had a very difficult year last year, but does have a gold medal to their name. And I believe a bronze as well. And then just kind of filling in the groups, New York and Colorado, Ohio and Illinois are have both. Ohio played last year, and then Illinois has been in a tournament several times. Same with New York and Colorado; they've played in each of the 4 iterations of the tournament. And then Massachusetts is brand new to the tournament, along with Minnesota and Georgia. Virginia is not new to the tournament technically, but it is under new leadership. Browning Gentry and his brother Chris are making up a brotherly duo, and so they are, even though the state has participated before, they are new to running their own team, so they round out the field. And JR, shall we move on to the draw? Any comments on this?
Yeah, let's get going. Yeah, the only reason Virginia's low is because it is kind of a new team. It doesn't have the pedigree that came with the Virginia name when Tim Furrow was running it.
Yes.
But yeah, let's get started.
Okay, here we go. So Washington and Texas. Whoever I spin will land in Group A. The other team will land in Group B. And I have this set to rotate far too long, so we're going to go ahead and change that. Okay, it's going to be Texas. So Texas in Group A, and Washington are defending champions in Group B. They played a best-of-5 series in the championship, with the USSR winning all 5 games. Nope. What do I do?
Yeah, that was pretty surprising. Normally people are going to prefer USA a lot of the time, especially on the higher levels. But yeah, the USSR sweep of a 5-game series is very interesting. And there's some pretty good games. Those videos are up on Ed Prem's channel, so you can go watch them.
Yep.
On YouTube.
Game with the Colonel. Okay, so DC and Maryland, whoever gets picked is in Group A. It is going to be DC. So again, the District of Columbia will see Texas in the opening round. Maryland will get Washington. Maryland is Captain Jim Hafley, and Jeff Watkins, new last year, came on to the tournament scene. Started out 0-1 because they inherited another team that had already lost a game. Were undaunted by that. Finished up went 4-1 in group play. Won the group stage. Had a tough time in the playoffs, but they are back once again to see if they can repeat their group stage success.
Yeah, I mean, very impressive in a tournament that has 6 total games. When you come in at any sort of a disadvantage, even just 0-1, to get out of groups. I think they went 4-2, so they went 4-1 themselves, actually, to win the group. Didn't quite do as well in the playoffs, but yeah, very impressive team. And then District of Columbia, those guys are bums.
Yep, no question about it.
Half of them are just drunk all the time. The other half are just too busy. I don't know, tilting because they rolled a 3 instead of a 4.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I tilt too easily. That's right. And for some reason, I like eventing John Paul II.
for some reason, for an unknown reason, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why I would like doing that. Okay, so pot 3, California and New Jersey. We all know which one of these teams is better. It's going to be California. Okay.
Oh, we're over on the fun side.
Yeah. Okay, so Texas, DC, California, all in Group A. New Jersey will join Maryland in Group B. Very, very interesting. Okay, so pot number 4 is New York and Colorado.
Yeah, Peter pointing out you're putting all the streamers on the same side.
Yeah, I know. That's a shame. I was hoping that I want the U.S. Cup games to get streamed. So as many games as possible to be streamed. So okay, and okay, now finally we see the other side. So New York goes into Group A. I don't believe they stream their games, but perhaps there'll be some YouTube posting. And on the other side, Colorado, Jordan Cass, captain over there, and he streams their games. So looking forward to seeing some Group B games. Moving on, yeah. So,
We'll say we have a nice split here. Right now, we have 2 teams from each group last year in both of these. So we have a nice mix of the groups from last year. Will be a little bit different than playing the same guys over and over.
yes, indeed. Okay, so we move on to pot 5, Ohio and Illinois. Team Illinois, led by, of course, Derek Miller, well-known team. I've never played against them personally, but we will see if they can wind up in the streamer group. Sure enough, we get Illinois in Group A, Ohio over in Group B. So all three, so 3 of the 4 teams that stream games live are in one pot, and then obviously Team Ohio, I think, will be posting on YouTube along with Texas. So we will be able to see some of these.
Yeah. You should be able to see most of these Group A games, and a lot of them from both sides. We'll have to go bully some of those Group B people into at least recording games to post on YouTube or something.
Yeah, no question about it. Okay, Massachusetts and Virginia next.
Some of the new blood.
Okay, we'll be Team Virginia in Group A. And Massachusetts in Group B. Tim Furrow and Max Goldman joining Charlie Wilson to form a Team Massachusetts, and they'll be in Group B. So we will see those games streamed, I suspect, by Max. So I'm hoping we get those games streamed. I know he has been reticent to stream team games in the past due to, I believe, some technical difficulties, but I hope he can work those out.
Yeah, and there's just a team of guys who definitely they live in Virginia, all of them, or in Massachusetts.
Yes, of course. I think they visited there one time or can point it out on a map. And finally, we have Minnesota and Georgia, 2 brand new teams. So Minnesota led by Riley Dosh and Steve Kuhn they make up Team Minnesota. So looking forward to see what they can do. And JR, would you like to talk a little bit about Team Georgia?
Yeah, Team Georgia is Trevor and Abby Reese, a couple. Very nice people. Was hoping to meet them at the in-person U.S. Tournament that didn't work out, but sent them an email, asked them if they wanted to be a team, and they gladly took it on. As Kevin pointed out in chat, I'm not sure if they actually have internet in the state of Georgia yet, but hopefully they will figure out a way to play by post or smoke signal or something.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so we might need to extend the 90-minute clock for Georgia. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. I mean, it depends how fast the birds can bring the letters.
Yes. Yep. We play it by carrier pigeon. Okay. And finally, Minnesota versus Georgia, who will be in Group A. It's going to be Team Georgia. So the Reeses will be in Group A. And then we will have Team Minnesota in Group B. All right. So take a step back. Here are our groups. JR, tell me your first impressions.
Well, obviously, Group A is the group to beat here. That's a tough group over there. Group A. Those top three teams, all just not guys you want to play.
Group A is the group
Then
of
you look
death.
over at Group B. Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that. I think we'll see a Group A sweep in the playoffs, and we'll have a Group A rematch in the finals. DC versus California in the finals is pretty clear to me.
Yes, DC California finals makes perfect sense. So yeah, it will be pot 2 versus pot 3. One of us will win it. Texas will be shut out of the playoffs, miss the playoffs entirely, and we will see each other again in the finals. That makes perfect sense. And then Group B, defending champion Washington, and then some newer teams. But we've got also New Jersey. After an off year last year, they've still got a couple of great players in Ryan Pindalik, Harry Wu, but it's not just them. They've got some other players on that team as well. So zoom in, Justin. Zoom. There we go. So we are zoomed in here, and you can see these are the groups. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of these games. So I think. We went over it. DC, California, Illinois, Colorado, and Massachusetts should all stream their games live. And Jordan Cass, Ronnie Jeter over on Team Colorado. A little bit of a new look team there, but Jordan Cass still leading the way. But we have 5 teams that stream their games live. They were in 5 different pots, and we wound up with 3 in Group A, 2 in Group B. So that's a pretty good match. I'm glad we got that. And a couple of teams in each group that will stream games live. I know at least Texas and Ohio will be posting games on YouTube, so we've got some games there. And then I did get a game from New York last year to stream on my channel, so maybe they'll do something similar this year. But all right, JR, we've been yapping for a long time. I think it's probably time for both of us to get back to work. Any final thoughts on this one?
No, very, very excited to get this tournament started. Hopefully we can get it done in a timely manner and get into playoffs in a timely manner. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Justin, thanks for all you did to get this set up. And look forward to playing in this against all of our friends and rivals.
Yes, indeed. Me too. So I will be. So I'm going to do it off. I don't think anybody cares to see that who's USA and who's USSR. I'll do this offline today and get a schedule out to everybody, and then people can start scheduling and start playing. So thank you, JR, for joining me. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Yes, Peter. It's a round robin. Winner of each group plays in the semifinals. Second place in Group A plays third place in Group B. Second in Group B plays third in Group A. Winners of those matches will move on to the semifinals as well to play group winners, and we will proceed that way just as we have the last couple of years. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great rest of your day. For JR Jones, this is Justin Abramson. That was fun, but now it's done. So long, everybody.